Hey, Maria back with another video. It's 9:06 a.m. Monday morning, December 11th. And I woke up, I would say, about 4 hours ago. And since I've been up, my brain's just been like thinking about this, that, this, that, this, that. And it's all, of course, relating to the same damn thing. The Prince Alamalehu slash Joseph Mengele, whatever. Okay. I think why this bothers me, and I'm not God, I can't help this, but I can't help feel the way that I do. And because I think a lot of people know that I'm scarred by this mainly because of the racial element behind it. And I know that, I've dealt with some pretty weird people, and maybe people didn't even think about it this deeply, okay? But I do. I mean, I think heavily on this issue. There's a lot of theories about Joseph Mengele, what happened to him, about when the time period when he was, I don't know, died or whatever. Because I know that a lot of the former Nazis went to Argentina, and then I do know that a lot of them came over. Talking about the Nazi scientists, they came over here through this Operation Paperclip, and were able to assume new identities and live on whatever. Like I said, what I'm saying and talking about is not like I'm not spilling anything. I'm not speaking any false things about my country. I'm talking about things that are public information. This has already been published. This is already something that the United States is very open about. Okay, you can actually Google it yourself. So, why that bothers me is obviously, I've went through everything that I pretty much experienced throughout my entire life. When it came to the school system, when it also came to the work system, I have dealt with nothing but racism, which is, obviously I know that the people who were behind this, the targeting as a child, what I thought was originally started off with my brothers and sisters, um, it was probably egged on, heavily by the alphas or whoever was orchestrating this. I know the alphas were involved at some point. But anyway, this adult people who had either very open or maybe covert racial um, hatred, just this sort of intensity that they were having other people act out for them. And when I think about, how that operation works, it literally makes me sick to my stomach. When I first realized I was being targeted, and I thought it was just on the family level, it did disturb me because I know that this went around the world, okay? This went around the world. People knew me. I was getting just bullshit from people randomly. And I kept thinking, okay, I understand things can go viral, things can go around the world. So I kept thinking my wicked family has taken this schoolyard thing and taken it too far. Okay. And then I also knew from reading information when I was younger, and I was like in the early, uh, how can I say, well, late 90s and then early 2000s, I was doing a lot of research about, things that go on behind the scenes. And I was interested in, you know, I guess what some people call conspiracies, what some things, I'm sorry, there must fucking be true. But anyway, I started reading into that stuff, and then I started taking interest. I've always had an interest in things like Hitler. I had an interest in Hitler since I first heard his name. Not a joke. When I was a kid, I do recall watching the Holocaust, and I know that my dad had some books on Hitler, and the whole because I wanted to the mindset of this man intrigued me because I can't imagine somebody doing something like that. But still, okay. I remember reading a lot about him and then talking to. Now that I think about it, it's like, man, this the whole clone thing starts making more sense because I remember. I don't know if it was 1978. or 1979, but I was pretty damn young. I could have, yeah, I think it's either 78 or 79, and I have a pretty good memory. So we're on the playground, and I was basically talking about how I watched the Holocaust. I've been watching the Holocaust with my family, and the other kid started talking about his hatred, his intense hatred for the Jews. I am not kidding. Now I was like first or second grade, but the way he was communicating, it was almost like this little dude was a man saying this shit. Not like it was like, and it was like, I just remember, I have never forgot that conversation. You know what I mean? I'll never forget that conversation that I had. But anyway, I started realizing that this kid was only, and even I was thinking this. Okay, I'm thinking we're only in grade school. Why is he taking this issue so personally? I suspect that some colognes have um, memories acquired from their old lives that gets transferred into their current thoughts. You know what I mean? And they may not even know where it comes from. Like it might come out in their behavior, and it might come out in their prejudice behaviors and stuff like that. I don't know how else could I explain this, but anyway, um, I realized that in the last few weeks, I realized that I grew up. I didn't realize the place that I lived when I was younger was a one of those kind of facilities. Okay, and I do remember reading some information that's public information. Okay, about this Joseph Mengele person who was obviously a Nazi, and I read about him in I think late 90s or 2000. He was I guess, a kind of a physician, and he conducted experiments on people and mainly twins. Okay, he had like this fascination with twins. He would like take out their genitals. He would switch, he would amputate their limbs and then reattach it to another one. He would just do very strange, barbaric type stuff. Okay. Well, anyway, after um, the Auschwitz concentration camp the service that he provided there. After that, a lot of these people went to Argentina and those kind of areas. I think he went to Brazil or something like that. As a matter of fact, he is the guy who's supposed to be the inspiration for that story, The Boys of Brazil, where they had all those like Nazi clones or whatever. But anyway, Joseph Mengele, obviously he had an interest in eugenics, and he had an interest in what he was seeking was racial purity. Okay, it disturbs me that I have this intense psychic feeling that he had something to do with this. There has been talk about Joseph Mengele, even though he was reported to have lived and died in Argentina, because a lot of them went over to Argentina who weren't getting covered over this, who weren't in the Operation Paperclip. They came over here, but a lot of them did go to Argentina. So this person uh, has been rumored to be at the same Air Force base at one time. Now I don't have any public, I mean, what do you call it, proof of that, but I know that there has been talk in the past through word of mouth that Joseph Mengele did spend some time at this particular Air Force base. And see, I'm not even saying the Air Force base name, okay? I try because I respect um, certain things that are supposed to be upheld. You know what I mean? And maybe it's because when I was younger, I heard a lot of barbershop talk or about people who who started talking about stuff and then ended up dead or something. And that just always freaked the fuck out of me. So I don't trust people anyway. So, and even though I don't really have anything to blame, I cannot be blamed for any of this. So fuck you. I'm literally somebody who just got dragged into all this, but still, in the back of my mind, I know how illogical people can be. So, I didn't like being targeted and being traced and followed bullied and harassed all my fucking life and missing out on really important parts of my life because of this issue, because of a racial issue. But when I think about the whole Joseph Mengele being involved in it, then this really disturbs me because, and then the fact that I have a twin. You know what I mean? Was this also a part of the experiment? Because I do get this connection that, I don't believe or feel as though I endured any cruelty or had come into any contact with this Joseph Mengele person. I don't believe that, but I do believe that he may have been aware or that he could have been a part of it in some way. Even if somebody sent him a letter and said, "Hey, we're about to create this person or whatever." I mean, still, I do believe that he was involved in some way. He didn't die until 1979. It has been rumored that he was one of the scientists that did contribute and work to the United States military bases. This is what I've heard, okay? So, based on what's already published, okay? So, don't get on me. I'm not doing anything wrong. And believe me, I don't even like talking about anything that relates to um, government or anything. I don't. But I do also, I've come to realize just by being targeted, knowing that how very, very human people are. Like, I used to think when I was a kid that having like any sort of job, any sort of public office, any sort of responsibility, whether you be a lawyer, if you do work in government, if you're like a mayor or something, that you seriously understood the law and you worked and operated within it. You always, that was like your guideline, and that's exactly what you followed, and you did not deviate any from that. So like if you had to make a decision, you would have to take in consideration all of these things before you actually would proceed into that. This is what I thought as a kid because I kept thinking that's the right way to me. Okay, it is the right way to be, okay? But people are only human. They allow themselves to make poor decisions by being maybe overly social, doing things that they really shouldn't be. They do not follow protocol, just like, and whatever. Okay. We know that people do things that they shouldn't. Okay. So I'm looking at this situation right now as kind of like a learning experience for the United States. Okay. Obviously, there's a lot of people right now who are I'm getting this intuitively, who are trying to bust open this whole topic of the Prince Alamalehu thing, okay? And they want this whole issue out in the open. And I'm like, okay, I'm a little, I don't know how I feel about that because I'm always thinking about our country, okay, the protection of our country and how that kind of information could affect the morale of people in the country, okay, and that's something that should be considered. You know what I mean? Yes, I do take things that are important of that kind of nature seriously because I do. I'm a leader, a natural leader. Even though I'm not a leader in my country, I understand how that could impact things and the cause and effect, okay? Because the first thing that a logical person, I'm being very honest, okay? A logical person is going to, the first thing that's going to come to their mind um, is our country lying to us? And I don't want people feeling that United States people in office, they can make mistakes. Okay, that's all I'm saying. They can make mistakes. They're human, just like the lawyer who was supposed to be like Mr. Whiz Kid at employment law, but somehow does fucked up shit. Anyway, I mean this is what they do. People can do these things. There should be checks and balances, and sometimes they don't. And this is just, I guess, people who are not like me. I guess I'm sorry. I know that sounds terrible, but I have very high standards, and when it comes to these sort of things, I stick to it. You know what I mean? I stick to what it is. I guess the law and these certain guidelines that I would have to. And then, it's very common for some people. They're only human. they step outside of these guidelines and they make mistakes. Just like this whole, I don't know how, I kind of get an idea of how the whole cloning thing happened. I kind of, but there, then, you know, I guess I'm okay if the Prince Alamalehu thing gets um, released. But if my concern is for the morale of this country. And so the only thing I can really say is that people make mistakes, and sometimes people do things that, or they either abuse power or whatever. You know what I mean? That's the only explanation I can have come up with, because somebody has to explain why is it that most people, um, it's not well public knowledge that there are clones. Why would you put people and clones in situations where they're going to be bullied? How can you explain all of that? How could anybody explain that? If you're ready and willing to explain certain things that people are naturally going to ask, then, you know, let's go ahead and have this, go ahead and open it up. Otherwise, let's just move on with whatever it is that we need to do. I need to move on with my life, and obviously, people need to move on with theirs. Because, you know, when I think of, um, it's the ugliness of it. It's the part that is just so overly racial, and then not to mention, which that we're bringing now. Let's talk about the Antichrist thing, okay? The fact that this this evil religious persecution thing that people use to make me a target of a hate crime on top of the religion and the race and the religion thing. It was just like, oh my God, you know. Can we talk about that and have an open dialogue about that? If we can have an open dialogue about these very truthful things, issues, you're ready to do that, then go ahead and open it up. You know what I mean? Because, and it's like you have to take some really hard look, a really deep hard look at yourself in this issue. Because I can't tell you how many people participated in something like this. And when I think about my family, you know, it literally, because I'm not the kind of person who can be mind controlled, I cannot do that. Everybody is affected by mind control to some degree. Okay, everybody. Even though when I was younger, I believed every fucking thing that I heard from an adult, because I felt as that most adults were moral. Most adults knew what the law was. Most adults who claimed to be religious adhered to their religious doctrine. I thought these things because I was young and innocent. Now that I'm older, I understand most people have no concept of what is moral. Which this is obvious. This issue right here is makes it obvious. You know what I mean? This is, to me, like I said from the very beginning, that it proves a lot and it opens the eyes of, um, it should open the eyes of many people for a lot of issues. To me, this is a very, very deep issue. It's not just about reincarnation. It's a lot deeper than that. You know. But anyway, I wanted to kind of go over some of the intuitive messages that I got, um, that I was thinking this morning. I do get the message or feeling that no government is that serious. Like, just relax, okay? I do believe that the people, the higher people who were involved in this, um, are taking a very understanding view of it. I'm not going to mention any names. I don't want to mention any names. I do think, I just want it to be a learning lesson of human behavior, and um, and mistakes that people make. Okay, common mistakes that people make, mainly because there really doesn't seem to be a moral compass for the majority of people on the earth. There just doesn't seem to be one. Um, you know, their generation did a lot of fucked up things, and before that, and before that, before that. And I know my family, the people who adopted me, made a lot of mistakes, and they didn't really have a great example to follow. I mean, so um, I don't know. There's certainly any isn't any malice on my part that I would enact, or I would not inflict any harm, or I don't hold any resentments to the president of this country. I don't, in my mind, I don't feel as though I have any reason to. And this goes for certain leaders in other countries. I'm not, I understand, I'm not comfortable with, how deep this really is, mind you, but I don't believe that I'm being persecuted and um, being blamed for anything, because I do believe anybody with half a fucking brain can see that I don't have anything to be blamed for. Um, Also, I do want to address the serious mind control that existed in Lancaster, California, and the surrounding areas. There was a lot of that, a lot of mind control. Um, and I can honestly say, from my experience of dealing with the people that I used to know, I understand. I would say that this experience, people always say, Maria, you're really good when it comes to understanding human behavior. I have been observing mind control all my life. I am, because I'm on the outside, because I'm not somebody who could participate in something what these people did. I was always on the outside looking in on deep, deep mind control. And even though, like right now, and please don't take any offense to what I'm saying, I know there's people in the Antelope Valley that are listening to me right now. Don't take any offense to what I'm telling you, but your mind control is not cured. It's like you did find out that the clone issue, but this is like years and years of heavy, deep indoctrination. So deep. I mean, and this, I'm going to tell you, it's so deep that, every day is, if you choose to try to heal, every day is going to be a new experience for you. I understand how deep it is, and the things that you guys have said, and the things that you've done, and just everything. I see how deep it is. So anyway, um, what else? Oh, the prince was known as an occultist in England. I probably makes a lot of sense. What can I tell you? I am drawn to the mysterious. I'm drawn to the unknown, and I never realized that I had Ethiopian and Egyptian blood until just in the last few month or so. Actually, I think I found it in October. Whatever. Anyway, I'm going to be upfront. I can tell you that I always thought like Ankhs were cool, and I always thought like pyramids were cool and stuff. Um, but I've never been like, big Egyptian type like freak where, I go out and collect everything Egyptian and stuff like that. I know I used to love black eyeliner, love that to death. But I'm very proud of my lineage. But when you think of in terms of reincarnation, what happens is, you're born and you live a multitude of different lives. And not everybody, apparently the intuitive readings that I'm getting relating to my father, it tells me that my father was very blessed to be able to come out remembering all his lives. That generally doesn't happen. And the research that I've done in reincarnation, because I started reading a lot about that in the late 90s and the early 2000s, what generally happens is that when you're born, and you might have certain remembrance, like a little things that you remember. Like a lot of kids will say to their mom and dad, when I was older, or when I died, those sort of things. But those conversations and those little memory slips that occur in a child's mind usually start to become weaker and completely forgotten by the time the kid's 8 years old. Mainly because the kid doesn't have time to think about like spiritual things. They get more involved with school activities, whatever that kind of diverts their attention to that part of themselves. So they kind of forget all of that stuff. Um, but apparently, my father was very gifted and was able to remember all his lives. I don't remember those things. I don't remember being Prince Alamalehu. I don't remember being him. I will say that, I was thinking about my child's photos, right? When he was really little. I have always thought, and it's always been in my mind, it's um, like mandatory in my mind, okay, that little boys should wear like little short pants and those little knee socks, like that European English look. And I don't know why, but when I had my son, I kept thinking that those are the right clothes that he's supposed to get for his little pictures that he was going to take. And I remember insisting that he looked like that. So I must have been around little boys when I was a kid in England is as Prince Alamalehu, watching people wear this style or something. You know what I mean? And this is why I insisted, but not realizing or making a connection to the Prince Alamalehu thing. Because why else would I insist on it? I don't get me wrong. I grew up admiring British people, but I've never thought about like copying their shit. You know what I mean? But for some reason, in my mind, boys are like supposed to wear that stuff. So I remember my son taking pictures of my son. He has like some pictures. I was trying to dig those out a couple of days ago, so I wanted to show you because he really did look cute. I love little boys in that style. Okay, which in America that's kind of like, man, why would you wear that? Because it's cute and it's cool, and apparently I felt like I was used to that. Anyway, yeah, it doesn't. It makes sense that I would be interested in the occult. I've always had an interest in it. I loved it when my mom would tell me stories about her family, which that's one of the reasons why I completely kept thinking I must be a part of my mom's family because they're all trippy. The story she would tell me was really trippy about that sort of stuff. So I thought, okay, well, I guess I'm one of them, right? But anyway, um, it makes sense. And I think I mentioned that I was a big fan of Dark Shadows, the whole Barnabas coming back from the dead thing. It just kind of like, I don't know. That whole storyline felt very familiar and kind of cool to me. So, but it makes sense if I was an occultist in England that I would be attracted to the occult here. Anyway, so the other message I got was my father was ostracized for bringing in what these people referred to as the Antichrist. I can't tell you how much that hurts and bothers me. It bothers me that my father had to deal with being driven literally to death by these people, these very people. Okay. And that's an issue that I cannot forgive. I cannot forgive what these people did. I can't forgive it. Okay. Because I love my father and he was a good man. Okay. To the best of his earthly ability. Meaning everybody creates what they call sin. Everybody is whatever. He was never an angel, and neither are these people, and neither are the people who are watching my video. Nobody is. Okay? But he never did anything major, and he certainly wasn't an evil man. It's the other way around. This is what shocks me so much and makes me like freak the fuck out. Is that somebody was just outright fucking wrong. It's not even debatable. You're outright wrong. You're attacking me, and you put my father to death, right? And yeah, I am getting a little upset, okay? But then you ostracize this man, and then you have the nerve to refer to me as the Antichrist. What the fuck? like I said, I hope that that's not the actual word that was used to describe me. Because, like I said, I am not Antichrist, anti-Jesus, or anything like that. But the point is that you could, because obviously my father could not wanted me cloned, okay? But he doesn't have the ability to clone me himself. So obviously this was a group of people who got together. My father didn't have the power to do something or create me on his own. So he got together with a bunch of people. They agreed to clone me, and then they turn on my father and um, and just run him basically to death. That's the story. That is the fucking story. That's exactly. They got racist about it. They got fucking evil about it, and they put this man to death. And I am angry as fuck about it. Okay, but I'm not retaliating. I want to go on with my life. But you know who you are. Okay. Um, and then, the Antichrist thing is like, I don't know. I don't believe these people have the ability to have any sort of logic or reason, and they certainly don't have any empathy. Okay? But anyway, my soul tribe wants me to talk more about reincarnation. That's the other message I'm getting. I'm starting to tell you what I know. I did come to the revelation that um, I was King Tut's wife in the past. Okay, and I've lived different lives between Prince Alamalehu and now, but each life I've lived, I've always had my father, who was King Tut, in my life. Okay, our roots are in Egypt, I believe, and of course, I'm in Ethiopia, and I'm very happy about that. I'm very happy about that. It's cool. Really, it is cool. I think just what bothers me is the hatred behind it. It's wicked. The wickedness behind it is what disturbs me. The wickedness and some of the people that I encountered. It's like I might as well be looking at Joseph Mengele. Like, that bitch that attacked me over there at, not she didn't attack me, but she was trying to provoke me to hit her, that old lady. Those people who want to have like Jesus Christ information or little um, sayings about Jesus Christ on their bumper sticker. But see, this, oh, whatever. You know what? It was just sick, okay? The whole thing is just sick. And I can't believe, um, I can't believe this sort of wickedness was carried out in the open, like the way that it was, you know, and that I was attacked in the way that I was. And I'm disturbed very much by it. So today when I got up, I wanted to talk because, um, I wake up with this negative, some negative thoughts sometimes, because, um, because I want movement in my life. And I feel like I'm always being stagnated, and everything all the frustration that I have to deal with is outside of my control. Like, and I don't like living that way. I hate it, as a matter of fact. I've been on unemployment for quite a long time, and I think my last unemployment check I think I'm going to be done with it by January or somewhere around there. I'm not even keeping track, but I've been wanting to get off unemployment and be on my own. And I know that right now I'm dealing with the Patreon issue because these people don't want to be identified and they want their names hidden. And that's fine. Okay, but still, like I said, once again, I'm the one who pays the price for it. I'm tired of paying the price for something that I had no control over. You know what I mean? It bothers me. And no disrespect to Patreon. They're only doing what they have to do, and I don't want to drag all this up, but I have suffered for such a long, long time. I have, and I didn't know why. Now I know that, I've been dealing with racial profiling and whatever. That's how it feels. I mean, I know that First, I really did think it was just about my hair, like my sister not liking my style or whatever, but God, this is so weird. You know, I will say in reincarnation, because I know you guys want to talk more about reincarnation. I think it's cool because the topic of reincarnation, it does give people hope. You know what I mean? Like for people who maybe want to come back again. God knows, I don't really want to come back again. I really don't. I fucking hate this place. You know, that's how I feel. I mean, I'd have to, you know, I don't want to speak too soon, but I have to really think about it. I'd have to really think about it um, to come back or whatever. Apparently, I guess you could will yourself to do that. You know, I don't see anything. The reason why I overindulge in the things that I love is because that's what keeps me here. That's exactly what keeps me here. It's my clothes that keeps me here. It's my makeup that keeps me here. It's my stuffed animals that keep me here. It's those things. I cannot find anything outside of my world that I can say that I enjoy. I have only known garbage. I have only known abusers. I've only known multiples. I've only known people who can smile in your face and turn around and, you know, be an asshole, and they were programmed that way. That's all I've known my entire life. I have never known a sincere person. I have never known anything like that. You know what I mean? I like, oh yeah, what else do I like? Oh, I like flowers and I like trees, and that's what I like. I cannot possibly love or put any energy into anything um, that I'm lukewarm about. You know what I mean? And I will say that I'm very enthusiastic about writing content. I love the subject matter of the occult. I see where it relates and how it can be applied to other people's lives, and I think it would be beneficial for them to open their mind. They don't have to do every little thing, you know, but I think it's good for people to open their mind and understand the history behind things. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm interested in, and I want to follow my path, you know, and that's it. And after that, you know, my the whole point of the Swan Song manifesto. Swan Song is like what um, is done before a final performance. Okay, now like I said, this is not about me being morbid, but it's more about me recording these last years of my life, talking about the transition towards like learning more about reincarnation. Also, it is about spell work too, but a lot of it is going to be about reincarnation. A lot of it is going to be about, you know, a lot of times when people get older, they start to experience hallucinations, or they also experience, you know, like nighttime type dream state informations, downloads, whatever it is that they come up with that happen when it gets closer to the process of death. This is the sort of stuff I want recorded about my life. This is what I'm into. You know, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I'm the kind of person who leans towards um, spiritual things, and I want to live a spiritual life, and I want to finish it, the rest of my days being who I am. And there's just a lot of things that I want to cover on the Swan Song Manifesto channel on Patreon, and I want to explore it all of it, you know, and I want to share that with people. And that's my mark. That's my little record of me existing on this fucked up, horrible planet. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video, and I will be back with another video sometime later. And I'm trying to go through my mind. Is that everything I wanted to cover? I need to get some stuff off my chest, because right now I feel like I don't know how to direct my energy. You know, I want to like I still have that video I need to upload and put on Patreon. I'm not really mentally prepared to deal with the Patreon issue, because it's going to spiral into the whole issue of, you know, being followed, being monitored, and then it's just gonna, like, you know, spiral into going back to the darker part of it. And I don't like thinking about the darker part of it. Every part of it, every issue in my life, I feel like makes me think deeper down that rabbit hole that leads me to think about you know, the Joseph Mengele, because I just feel like this whole thing was based on bullying, no matter how you look at it, no matter how you slice it. So I have to be mentally prepared to even look at my email. I have to be mentally prepared to go to check on my Patreon and see, okay, well, my account's still not exactly where it needs to be right now. And why is that? Because I'm dealing with something that makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. But apparently it has to be there. Because these are the people who are supporting me. These are the people that I'm connected to. Like this soul tribe that I have that I wasn't really aware of. And a lot of these people I never met, but they are celebrities. And a lot of them I do appreciate. I really am glad. But at the same time, it still makes me think about being bullied. It makes me think about, you know, some psychos getting together and targeting a girl, and they follow her into her womanhood, and they still just can't fucking get enough of their sick shit. And they killed my father on top of it. This is the only thing that I can think of. That's the only thing that comes to my mind. So you need to understand, I'm not trying to be a drama queen. I'm somebody who has been traumatized multiple times over an issue that seemed deep at first, but when I think about it, it's even worse than I thought. So I'm doing the best I can. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up this video. I think I got everything off my mind. I'll be back with another video later. I really want to post that video, but I think I'm gonna wait till tomorrow to make an attempt. I just don't want to deal with any trauma right now. So talk to you later. Bye.